Hello and welcome to Somewhere in Between. I am Nikki,
And I am Leo.
and today we are going to talk about the power of saying no. So, um, I'm very excited about this topic because women are always expected to just be yes, 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 yes all the time. And taking back your power by saying no is so empowering.
hmm And it's important for us to say no and to use the power of no because it's not only just a good thing to set boundaries, but it's also empowering for your mental health, your
Mhm.
physical health, your spiritual health, just for your overall
Mhm.
health.
Absolutely, because saying yes to everything leaves you pouring from an empty cup, and it's just impossible to do because there ain't nothing left. So, we're going to start off by talking about women in business, how many women are in the workforce, how many women are entrepreneurs, women in management, and give you some of those stats right now. So, we currently have, oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. In 2024, women owned businesses made up 39.1% of all the businesses in the US, employing nearly 12.2 million people and generating 2.7 trillion in revenue. Women also make up a significant portion of the workforce with 23% in executive positions, 29% in senior management, and 37% in manager positions as of December in 2021. So we are out here working.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing the work. And
We
it
are.
is important to make sure that we are setting the boundaries as well.
Exactly. So let's talk about defining boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean for you to say
For me to say no, I used to find it very hard to say no until I started my confidence journey and realizing that I was saying yes out of fear. I was saying yes out of the fear of missing out. I was saying yes out of the fear of disappointing others. And I was saying yes out of the fear of not being enough or not being available enough, even if I just did not have the capacity. So saying no for me is empowering. It's me taking back my power. It's me prioritizing myself, my energy, my health, my mental awareness, and my capacity.
no? Mm-hmm.
What about for you?
Okay, for me, so I grew up in a household where it was my mom's word was law. So
Mm-hmm.
there was no room to say no. And when you don't empower, and most women, when you don't empower women to say no, we're taught to be kind,
Mm-hmm.
to um, hide our feelings and be nice.
Be nice.
Be nice. Even though you may not feel comfortable. And so what happens is when I grew up, I found myself in uncomfortable situations, not being able to express no because I didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And the other thing was I said yes to avoid conflict.
Avoiding conflict is
Mm-hmm.
definitely a reason. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So for me, even now, it is very difficult for me to say no because I want to be there for everybody. You know, I want to, like you said, the fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm.
And, but no is a practice. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been practicing no a
Yes.
lot. Yes. So I learned to trust myself and to honor my own feelings, even though I've been taught, be nice, be kind. And there's nothing wrong with being kind, but it's also unfair for us to betray how we feel about something. And then if you're not able to give 100% because you said yes to something,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, then you're looked at as negative or
Right.
you're not capable of doing something. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And another synonym for nice is agreeable. And you don't have to be agreeable all the time. Just because somebody wants you to do something does not mean that it's something that you have to do. And that's even in business. Can you think about a time when you were in business where you said yes to something that you didn't want to, and then a time where you said no, and how the differences, the different reactions were?
Okay, so definitely setting boundaries in the clientele that I decided to work with. So um, I said yes to everybody before in a business.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was it wasn't my ideal clientele.
Mm-hmm.
So I was met with a lot more challenges. So it was very difficult working with that clientele. So what I did in my next business is to say no, or I'm only dealing with this specific type of person. And for me, it allowed me to have more freedom because I knew that if this person was serious about their business, so like one of the things is that you already have to have an established business.
Mm-hmm.
So when we deal with people that have an established business, I know that you're already serious about it. You've already invested in your business. You've already done most of the work in
Mm-hmm.
your own business. So I don't have to deal with the wishy-washiness of a startup or somebody that is just thinking about a business. And don't get me wrong, there is a market for people that are starting a business, and that may be good for some people, but for me, it just wasn't a good fit for me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What about you?
So I used to work for a law firm here in Savannah, and at the time when I was working there, it was my first time. I had just gotten my paralegal degree and gotten my criminal justice degree because I got them like a year behind each other. So it was my first time sticking my toe into the water of being in a law firm, and I just was so gung ho about everything. I wanted to be able to help the clients. I wanted to be able to get the files together because I was responsible for getting the accident reports.
Mm-hmm.
And there was constantly like accident reports that needed to be asked for, or clients calling and asking for them. So I would like stay later. I was always saying yes to everything. And then when it got to the point where I realized I was doing a whole lot of work, and my wife at the time was like, "Oh, uh, you're at this job so much, you're never here for us." And I realized that me saying yes was putting my household in jeopardy and putting, our relationship in jeopardy. So I got to the point where it was like, okay, I need to ask for more money because I'm doing more work. So I go and I ask for more money, and it's just like pulling teeth. They're like, I'm already doing the work. And they're like, no, basically, it's not happening. Like, we're not giving raises again until whenever they say. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to stay this late anymore. And then I started to realize that, the attitudes towards me kind of changed. And it got to the point where I just got completely burnt out. So I went ahead, and after the no came, I went ahead and put in my 2 weeks because I was like, I can find another job. It'll be fine. Well, this was around the time that bonuses were coming out. So they just decided to withhold my bonus. And I guess they were going to give it to me as severance, but they just decided to withhold my bonus. And I'm like, I've already earned this. Mm-hmm. How dare you? So it ended up like saying no for me cost me something in that time, but then it also gave me my freedom because then I was able to leave and go and do whatever else was next for me, whatever I wanted to do next. Then there's times where um, saying yes can be beneficial, but you have to weigh the pros and cons. So in my current position, uh, I was asked that I want to cross train, and you don't get any additional money for training. And it was me training somebody else from a different department on how to do the job that we do so that they could come over and help us if we had too much backlog. Now I asked, like, okay, so do I get additional money for training because I'm training this person, but I'm also still responsible for my job. Mm-hmm. So there's there additional money that comes with this? They're like, no, we're just being a team player. Of course, they always say the team player thing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it because there are times when we get backlogged and we do need the help. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I said yes, and it ended up being beneficial at that time. So we're not saying, you guys, to just always just say no. We're saying to think about it, actually weigh the benefits, the pros and the cons, and then decide what is best for you. If saying yes is best for you or saying no is best for you, and then do that. Not based off of what's best for the business, but how is saying yes going to affect you? How is saying no going to affect you in your upward trajectory at the job or in your business? Like, how is it going to be beneficial?
Okay. That is good. That's a good example because sometimes saying no, just because it doesn't have a monetary value, can be a detriment because you need the help. You needed the help on your team. So actually cross training somebody was beneficial. So I think, like you said, you had to weigh out what was good for you. So let's get into the benefits of saying no.
Okay. So based on, let me pull that back up. Based on a report from Synergy Health Programs, saying no uh, can shift the way our brain thinks and reacts to situations. It allows us more ability to make decisions for ourselves. So, as I was just saying, it allows you to take the focus off of what other people want and put it back on what you want personally. So, it shifts that mindset. And we all know that when we want to implement change, it starts with mindset, it starts with us in the mind.
Mm-hmm. So it leads to personal empowerment, so
Mm-hmm.
increased self confidence and self respect.
Absolutely.
So, maintaining your own boundaries, and also that personal empowerment will maintain your mental and physical health because you're not experiencing that burnout because you're actually listening to and honoring your body and
Exactly.
mind.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And we know that saying no is hard, but there are different tips that you can use to say no. Um, Rehearse with yourself. Like if you've already had time to sleep on it or think about it, just rehearse with yourself. Go over the reasons why you want to say no and be able to convey that to whoever. Not that no deserves an explanation because no is a full sentence. It's a complete sentence.
Mm-hmm.
No is a
Mm-hmm.
complete sentence. But in professional settings, sometimes the no needs a little bit more behind it. No, because, or no, because if I do, you have to be able to convey the reasons why you're saying no. Be honest. There's never a need to lie about why you're saying no. And perhaps in certain situations, you can offer alternatives like, I'm not going to be able to help you, but perhaps at a different time, like maybe right now is not a good time for me, but if this was a week or two down the road and you still need this help, then maybe I might be available. And don't rush.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say no to everything, but give yourself time to think through the consequences and then committing and then properly give a response. So don't just automatically, as soon as somebody approaches you, just go off the cuff like, no, I'm not doing that. Let's take a minute to think about it and how it's going to positively or negatively impact you later on and your possibilities of maybe moving up with the company if it's somewhere that you want to stay, or moving up with networking if you're in business for yourself. Because sometimes saying no can be detrimental
Mm-hmm.
and have bad repercussions later because people will be like, oh, she say no to everything.
Mm-hmm.
So no to her.
Exactly.
You don't want to create that.
So the second part is setting priorities. So identifying and focusing on your key goals. So um, that is, what can you gain from this? What are your goals? It doesn't align with your goals. If it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
then honor your no.
Honor your no.
And evaluate requests based on alignment with your objectives.
Mm-hmm. Does this align with where I'm trying to go? If it does not, we're probably going to not do this.
Mm-hmm.
If it does, then maybe I might have to be uncomfortable right now just so that I can be comfortable later. Because you want it to always align with what your actual purpose is. Um, and then we're going to talk about overcoming the guilt and the fear.
Mm-hmm.
So, some strategies for dealing with emotional reactions, because sometimes you say no and then you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen because I said no? And you're dealing with that guilt of saying no and then the fear of what's going to come next. What do you think we should do in those moments?
Give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive yourself and give yourself grace because you can't control somebody else's reactions. The only thing you can do is control yours.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like you said, we beat ourselves up. Man, what if this person doesn't like me? We think about the worst scenario.
Mm-hmm.
What if this person doesn't like me anymore? What if they never talk to me anymore? And most of the time, that's not even the case.
Right.
We go from 0 to 100. We think the worst things. And if they do react in that situation or that way, are they even your friends? Are they even somebody you want to work with?
Mm.
So think about that and be okay and forgive yourself for saying no and putting yourself first because like you said, as women we've been taught to be self-sacrificing, to put everybody before ourselves, the kids, the dog, the spouse, the job, everything before ourselves and not to honor our own feelings. But in
Absolutely.
2024,
We're not doing that.
sisters are not going for that.
That's not what we're doing. That's not. We're not going for that at all. Um, and it's important to continue to set those boundaries, have those strategies for overcoming the guilt and the fear, and then encourage yourself with different affirmations and everything like that so that you can shift your mindset from that mindset of fear of missing out, from that mindset of guilt, and into a mindset of empowerment, because realizing that there is power in saying no. Saying yes just makes you agreeable to everything and everyone. So when you say no, it's you taking a stand. Like, okay, no, I do not want to do this. And I don't necessarily have to give you reasons why, but this is why. And so, no, I'm not going to do it. And not being able to be persuaded, to do it after you've already said no. So just shifting that mindset and staying with it, because that can be difficult.
It really can. It really can. So we encourage you, women, women in business, whether in your professional life, in your personal life, start practicing saying no in your daily life. I mean, it's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you have to get used to. Like I said in the beginning, it's still very hard for me because I still want to be there for everyone and to be everything to everyone. So it's just start practicing saying no. It's a practice.
And make sure you surround yourself and deal with people that understand and honor your no, people that aren't going to make you feel guilty about saying no. Me, on the other hand, I make my friends feel guilty about saying yes too often. Like, I see that they're tired, drained, and just want to take a nap. And then they're like, somebody calls and they're like, oh, well, I got to get up and go. No, you don't. You do not have to. You are choosing to. You're making the choice to do it. But let's ask yourself why we're doing that. Why are we driving ourselves to the brink of tiredness and you're almost insane because you're so tired, but you're going to say yes anyway? Why? Let's ask ourselves why. Like, why are you really saying yes? Is it because you want to or because you feel like you have to? We have to make sure that we are making those distinctions in business and in our personal lives because we need us just as much as they do.
I think on that note, we are going to end. Join us again for the next topic. I can't even remember what the next topic is.
I'm not sure either, but if you follow us, we will post about it and then you'll know too.
We're going to get it. So we're going to provide some resources in the group. Make sure that you join our Facebook group. Follow the Somewhere in Between Facebook page. We love to see your comments. Comment below. Subscribe to our channel. We would love to hear from you, hear how you say no. And yeah.
And tell us about a time that maybe you said no and it didn't work out, and maybe a time that you said no and it ended up working out. We want to know all of the things.
Spill the tea.
Yes. What's tea say? Anyway, that does it for this segment. So have a great day on purpose. And we will see you next time at Somewhere in Between.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.